Hello there, welcome to this channel. I hope you're doing well. I'm Grand Admiral, and today we're going to be talking about blasters, and this is going to be our fourth installment of the Weapons Around the Galaxy series. So let's get right into this. So what entirely were blasters? So blasters themselves were different. So instead of firing a beam of light like a laser, the blaster fired a compressed, focused, high-energy particle beam that was very destructive, and it's what we commonly refer to as a bolt. Now, generating this bolt relied on two components: a gas cartridge filled with an energy-rich blaster gas, commonly Tabana, and a power pack. Now, when the blaster was fired, a small amount of this gas moved from the cartridge through the heater valve, as I believe it's pronounced, into the gas conservation enabler chamber, commonly referred to as the exciter. In this chamber, the power pack energized gas before it passed into the actual blaster module, where the now extremely high energy gas was transformed into a compressed beam of intense energy particles, and this was coupled with intense light. The particle beam itself was then focused through a prismatic crystal or a similar device, which generated a deadly high-energy particle beam from the emitter nozzle as a bolt of glowing energy. Now, the colour of the bolt actually depended on the gas used, and also the focusing device, so the colour would range from blue, white, orange, red. A side effect of firing blaster bolts were the blaster could overheat, as this whole transfer process was energizing and did cause some heat. Now, obviously, the cartridges did have to be reloaded, and, as you don't have every shot, and they would be reloaded when the gas ran out. Now, in all fairness, there were different sizes, and so blasters kind of depended on their power from, different sizes and different power of gas. Well, not power of gas, but different sizes of gas cartridges and how much gas was used. Now, something that was employed in a lot of different, types of blasters was a stun setting. Now, these stun settings, it fed power through a secondary emitter, which bypassed the gas chamber to create a ring of, pretty much, electromagnetic bursts that disrupted the target's nervous system, often leaving them unconscious. And that's really what a stun blaster was. Now, blasters themselves didn't really have any heat. Well, blaster bolts themselves didn't carry heat, but upon impact with the targets, that heat would disperse, causing heat, and it would go into kinetic energy, which would obviously, go through a target, and pretty much that kinetic energy would cause the heat. That's why when you pretty much shoot someone with a blaster bolt, that's why it looks like, it's burnt through them, and that would pretty much, cause intense damage to organisms. Now, there were different types of blasters, as I said, size, and, different sizes, different power in, how much gas was used. Common blasters that we know of were DL-44s, E-11s, DC-15s, DC-17 blaster rifles, DC-17 pistols, DC-15A blaster rifles, A280s, and many other types of blasters. Now, Jawas had a kind of different kind of setting for their blasters. Now, they stripped down a normal blaster to pretty much only its power pack and replaced all of it with an ion charger and an active accelerator. Now, what actually happened is when the blaster was shot, it sent out a restraining bolt, because it was made with a restraining bolt, and it sent a restraining bolt out to the droid, and this then caused said, droid to pretty much stop, because the restraining bolt was given an order to say, don't, and stop doing this. Now, what we actually see is that burst, and that burst itself is just the ion particles being displaced as a burst, all that power being shot out with that restraining bolt and all the power, and because, it's using, an accurate accelerator, the side effect of it was it had that massive burst of ion charged particles, ionized particles, which, with that electric kind of charge with them, and that, is that actual burst we see. And it's kind of what happens with, when we see an ion cannon fire, it sends out, pretty much ion particles, pretty far, and those particles are very well charged, and just causes an overload to, the system of said ship, or whatever it's being fired at. Now, another type of blaster was Mando's modified Amban rifle, and this was pretty much used at, what he modified is, he added a wooden stock, and he also had it at the front. He had pretty much something that would generate an electric, mass electric static charge. And those two, prongs that we see, between them they conduct a mass electric charge, so that means at close range you can pretty much stab his blaster at a target, and that would pretty much inflict a mass electric shock, either paralyzing or, killing said, target. In addition, at long range, he also had a blaster bolt that would disintegrate, and I have absolutely no idea how that works. My guess of it would be there's a very powerful gas, there's a lot of gas cartridge in there, and it's using so much power, and, those gas particles being so highly energized that as it hits the target and as the, kinetic energy disperses around the body, causing heat energy. I think it overloads and just causes the target to disintegrate. As I said, I actually don't really know how it works, but that would be my guess. Now, something I also want to note, actually, is most blasters, they can be, turned around. We can kind of change around their setting, change around the power. As I said earlier, it's really due to just, changing, how much gas is used and how much power is being used from the power cell and also the gas cartridge. And that's really how you change the amount of power a blaster has, and that's also why, they're so differently priced due to, scopes, modifications on the blaster, how much gas is being used from the cartridge, how many shots they fire, and how much power is actually being used from the power cell. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I really enjoy making these ones. These are so much fun, learning more about these weapons. I hope you enjoyed them as well. Comment down below what you think the next weapon we should cover is. And yeah, I'll see you next time, and may the force be with you.